Hello and welcome to the FSA podcast. My name is Brent Cromer and I teach fit pros how to scale their business responsibly, sustainably, and with lots of room for profit at the end of the month. And the way that I do that is coaching real business strategies that I didn't just find on the internet, that I actually went to school for and learned and got a degree for. Okay, so I'm going to show you why you shouldn't be pushing for record months every single month. And I know there's going to be some business coaches out there, some people that think I'm absolutely insane, but there's a reason. In fact, there's like 7 reasons why you shouldn't be pushing for a record month every single month in your business. I'm going to get into all that and more, and I'm going to explain why pushing for higher lows is actually a much more sustainable model and more profitable in the end when all things are considered. So if you haven't yet, go ahead, like, share, subscribe, send to a friend. I drop free info every single week on YouTube. I don't charge $1 for it. In fact, I even want to start taking some requests. So if you're a client, if you're a former client, if you're someone who's considering becoming a client, go ahead and just shoot your shot. Just pop in, ask me a question. I'll make a video. I'll answer it. If you like the way I answer it, you just might like my coaching. You just might sign up. So go ahead. If you don't, if you hate it, then you saved a whole lot of money. Okay, so give me a shot. Let me answer some questions on here. I'm having a blast doing this. So why does it not make a whole lot of sense to try to break a record every single month? Well, let's talk about sustainability. In fact, I have the sustainable growth model where everything is centered around this concept. If it's not sustainable, I really don't want it, right? The same way I don't want to lose 30 pounds if I can't keep it off, right? The same thing you tell your clients. So when we talk about sustainable growth, higher lows suggest that your bad months are still better than previous bad months. So we all know that in fitness, there are certain months throughout the year that do better historically than others, right? Where January might be a great month for you, where January might be a bad month for you. Your historical data is yours for your business. So like different models and different niches will tend to do better at different times during the year. For instance, if you're targeting teachers, you might get a lot of teachers throughout the school year and then maybe not so many during the summer, or maybe more during the summer, right? Or if you're working with like busy accountants, you might not get a lot of accountants signing up in the early months of the year because they're so busy. So different niches and different professions that you target, you're going to have different months that are your hot months and your slow months. What I'm suggesting is that your slow months be better than last year's slow months. Okay, that is good, solid, sustainable growth. Think about building a house, like the most generic reference of all time for anything in business. If you're only focusing on building as high as you possibly can and you're not consistently solidifying the foundation, you're building a house of cards, it's going to blow over the first sign of wind. Okay, so when you're growing your business, stop just pushing for these highs and doing everything that you can to get as high as you can without consistently rechecking your foundation and building the systems from within to make sure that it is in fact sustainable and that it doesn't all come crashing down on your head, because that doesn't feel good as a business owner. So again, sustainable growth, comparing year over year, not month over month, because April and May are different months and they have drastically different outcomes for a lot of fitness coaches. So compare April to April last year. If you don't have historical data for a year, stop stressing, and yes, continue to try to be better than you were the month before. But like, more importantly, if your worst month ever was $2,000, try to make your worst month ever $3,000 and $4,000, and start to shorten that gap between, my highest month is 7, my lowest month was 2, then it's 3, then it's 4, and then we're consistently closing this gap to where we have consistent predictable revenue, because predictable revenue is a whole different topic that we can talk about, but that is power. Predictability is power in business. Okay. The second reason why you want to push for higher lows and not consistently try to just build the tallest, thinnest tower possible is risk management. So when we are constantly focused and borderline obsessed with breaking records every single month, we become more willing to do riskier things. Right? It's like a gambler's mentality. Like when we're just pushing for more and more and more and more, we're going to start betting bigger and bigger, and we're going to start doubling down. We're going to start doing things that aren't consistent with our values. And it's going to leave you more susceptible, again, to risk. So if that is your only intention, is to grow the biggest income possible, you will eventually start slipping and making decisions that are out of congruence with who you are, who your business, represents, and what you stand for. So that is a slippery slope. So number 2, risk management. Number 3, resource allocation. So if we're talking about like breaking new records, a lot of times it's going to require more money, more effort, more time, more staff power. When you're constantly pushing everything to its limits, for the sake of making more money, you risk a lot of different things. You risk burning your staff out. You risk turnover, which is very expensive for a small business. You risk spending so much money on ads that you stress yourself the hell out. And then you start taking more, you start making decisions in a place of need as opposed to a place of abundance, which makes a massive difference in how you make decisions as a business owner. So if you're allocating all of your resources and you're just stress testing the shit out of your business for the sake of making a little bit more money than you did, the month before, you're going to miss things. And things are going to slip through the cracks. You're going to get more stressed. Your staff's going to be unhappy. And you're going to find that while you may hit a couple record months successively, back to back, you're going to find it's not sustainable. And you're going to find that it all falls over on your head. And if you haven't noticed yet, I'm focused on sustainability. A lot of business coaches out there, just to be honest with you, all they're talking about is how I can, record month, we're going to grow as big and as fast as possible. And it's not healthy. It is not healthy. Okay. It's just like stocks. If you see a stock shooting up like this, what does it always do? There's no stock in the history of the world that's continued to go on a trajectory like this. There's always a reset. Okay. And in business, it's totally normal as well. Anyone who suggests otherwise has not been in business long enough or has not studied business well enough to be coaching you and to be taking, 10K plus for their business. So if your business coach or the person that you're considering is just constantly preaching until their face is blue to grow as big as fast as possible, you're going to find that it's very hard to operate and run your business after a couple months or a couple years of this. And if you're in this for the long haul, which you should be if you're growing a business, you're not going to be happy with the outcome. You're going to get what you want, but you're not going to want what you got. Okay. So number four, stress reduction. Now that we're on the topic of stress, if you're aside from the resources and everything that you're allocating towards breaking those records, there's also the emotional stress where you feel like you're failing because you didn't hit another record month, right? So let's say your record month is 100 grand in a month. You hit it and you're like, yes, that was amazing. This dopamine, boom, sky high. And then the dopamine wears off. And the next thing you start thinking is, can I do it again? And that thought, I've seen crush people. It's personally affected me in a lot of different ways growing C4F because we came out of the gate so fast. And I say this as humble as possible, but when we came out of the gate, we just boom, 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 record months for 5 straight months. And then I had my first real challenge as a business owner and I felt like my world was falling apart. I was like, oh my God, this is what we made our first month in business, which wasn't even bad. But in my mind, it was the worst thing ever. And then you compare to what I was making at a W-2 and it was it was 5 times more than what I've ever made in a single month as a W-2. And I'm complaining about it. I was like, this is month 5 in business. That's crazy. So the emotional toll that I think constantly pushing for record months takes on you is immeasurable, right? It's different for everyone, but it can really have a tremendous impact on you and kind of how you operate on a daily basis. You feel like a failure every time you don't break a record. And if you feel like a failure, you're going to start making decisions out of a place of stress as opposed to a place of, I guess, certainty and sustainability and reading data as opposed to making decisions purely off emotion. Okay. So reduce your stress and you'll make better decisions. Surprise, surprise, right? Number 5, the long-term vision of the company. So like I said, comparing historical data is going to be really important. How were you last year at this time? And are you better than that? Okay. So maybe a good month in February for your business is 20 grand. Where a good month in May for your business is 80 grand. And you might feel like, oh my God, why is this so variable? Well, sure, we can try to close that gap, but maybe the previous year in March or February, whatever I said first, was 10 grand and you've doubled that year over year. And then in May, your previous best month was 60 and now it's 80. So we've increased that tremendously. So what you need to be focusing on are my lows higher? Do I have higher lows, right? The higher highs will work themselves out, but we can't consistently obsess over that, okay? And number 6, last but not least, guys, let me know, by the way, if you like these shorter podcasts. I've been doing them 10 to 20 minutes, and I love them. I love popping on here, giving you guys some good actionable takeaways without, well, 1, spending my entire day doing it, but 2, I hope that you guys are able to retain this, take a couple quick notes, and then apply, as opposed to, if you're like me, I listen to an hour podcast and I'm like, holy smokes, they're on like 70 different topics. I want like one focused topic that you can take away from. So go ahead and comment below if you like these shorter podcasts, and I'll continue to do them. If you want longer ones, I can talk all day. So I could do them if you guys really want, but I think one topic, one concept is going to be best for your retention, but I could be wrong. Again, the last one, okay, if you're focusing on just massive growth, breaking records every single month, remember when I talked about that peak, like you build this building, but it looks like a freaking needle, right? Like the Space Needle. And you're top heavy and you don't have the anchors and the foundation that the Space Needle actually has to maintain this. And what you find is that you built, but in a different way. And what I mean by that is customer satisfaction. If you're solely focused purely on revenue growth and scaling and not checking back on customer satisfaction, customer results, testimonials, all the things that build a great business, if you're not checking back on these things, then you might miss them. And then you might find that you have 20 negative Google reviews and a re-sign rate of 20% and no referrals coming in, because all you've been focusing on is top line, cold traffic, new sales, and not taking care of what's already within the business. And I've seen that happen too. So constantly recheck at least once or twice a month with surveys and things like that to see how clients are liking it. So the faster that you shift your perspective on how you grow your business from, hey, I want to scale as big and as fast as possible, to I want to scale sustainably and have measurable growth year over year, and you start thinking about the long-term vision of your business, the sooner that you develop this mentality and perspective, the sooner you will be on your way to building that, okay? Without all the risk and high stress, okay? Hope this was helpful, guys. Again, go ahead and like, comment, share, send to a friend, and comment below if you guys like the shorter podcast versions or the longer ones. I hope this helps. Again, if you have any requests, send them in. Let me take a swing at it.